Welcome to The Blind Spot. My name is Ian J. Peterson and I'm your host. I'm blind, but I have a microphone and I'm willing to use it. The philosophy of this podcast is a blind man and his microphone. We will talk about blindness and we will talk about all the things we cannot see in life, including Sasquatch, including aliens, including ghosts. Some of us have seen ghosts, some of us have seen Sasquatch and aliens. I haven't seen any of them yet, but I'm willing to dig deep to figure out what's going on. Welcome to today's show. My name is Ian J. Peterson and I'm your host. Guys, this is my very first podcast episode I'm ever recording, so bear with me if I'm a little bit nervous or I don't really know what I'm doing. The Blind Spot is the podcast, and this episode will be an introduction about me as a person and what this podcast will be. First of all, English is not my first language. I'm German. I was born in Berlin many years ago, eons ago. And that's where the journey starts. When I was born, that was in 1976, so you guys know more or less how old I am. Just get the calculators out. I was born in Berlin, as I said, and school time, everything, there was nothing special, everybody goes to school and that was it. After school, I was diagnosed with severe genetic mutation, which affects my vision. So that's why I'm wearing those glasses, not because I'm super posh or super chic, just the light's disturbing me. I have 5% of vision left, which is very little or very much, depends on from which angle you're looking at it. And this makes life complicated, makes also life funny. Sometimes you have stupid episodes in life where you think, why me? Why with my eyes? The best thing is, when you sit in a restaurant and a beautiful girl is walking towards you, waves at you, and you think, oh my God, what does she want? And then you realize it was not even you she was waving, because she just was waving at the girl behind you. So this is what can happen when you're blind. And in this podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about blindness. We will have some episodes where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of blindness. So as I said, I left school and I was diagnosed with this declining vision, which I have, but you adjust to it. So I worked for the longest time of my life. I worked in hotels, I worked for guest relation and reception jobs, not really on the computers because I was not able to see the screens, but I was doing all the talking to the guests and handling all the complaints and all of that. Which was a nice job for the longest time, but now my vision went even further down, so I can't even do this because I can see people, I can see person, but I can't really see the faces, so I don't even know who is coming to me or who's talking, only if they come very close, and the reception desks are getting bigger and bigger, so it's impossible. So please then stick with me on this podcast, and we will hopefully have an interesting journey over the years to come. I'm trying to put out episodes every week, preferably on a Thursday, but I'm not sure, so don't pin me to it. Whenever I have it ready, I will put it out. I want to grow a community, and that's where you guys come in. For you guys who are watching me on YouTube, you see my email address down in the screen, so please contact me for anything you want, for feedback, good feedback, maybe some ideas how to do it better, since I'm new to this whole podcasting thing. For the guys who don't watch me on YouTube now and just listen to any of those major platforms or on web streaming, my email address is theblindspot1667@gmail.com. So you can email me there. And when you listen to my podcast, please leave some reviews, which is good for the streaming platforms to figure out if I'm relevant or not. But for all the guys who really want to get in contact with me, just send me an email, or you can also contact me on Instagram. And the Instagram account is the same, theblindspot1667. And you can get in touch with me. I will answer, obviously, and that would be nice to hear about other people out there who maybe are podcaster or who are interested in me as a person or in this podcast. Now, some of the episodes will be different, so I will always try to have interesting episodes for you guys. So we will talk about the Sasquatch, which I really like, which is a phenomenon for me. If you see all those TV shows or you listen to other podcast channels or you meet people which are Sasquatch hunters, I don't know why you call yourself a Sasquatch hunter, because I mean, nobody yet ever shot one, so maybe you're just looking for Sasquatches, which would be nice. Which really interests me when you see those shows. I mean, first of all, the question is always, why do you go in the dark? I understand maybe the Sasquatch is more awake or alert during nighttime and doing his hunting or doing his daily business. So this is something interesting to look into it. And all the whole area, to be out in nature, is something really, really nice and interesting. I can't really be out in nature. Well, I can't be out in nature, obviously. It's only the problem for me stumbling to the forest. That would be another funny episode just to film me trying to find the Sasquatch. I think the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot either finds me, then I'll find it. So that would be something really nice I want to talk about. I want to talk also with other people, maybe in a streaming or an interview setup later into the podcast. So we get experts telling us their experience or telling us stories when they went out for hunting, for searching for Sasquatch, if they found it. I really would like that. I also want to talk about haunted things, about ghosts and entities and all those shows which I see in the TV out there, where they run around with their voice recorders and EMF meters. I mean, guys, for you guys who are on YouTube, I have a voice recorder here, but not really to talk to ghosts. I just use it to record some notes, because I don't have paper around me, because it would be useless anyways. So this is something nice. If you want to do notes, just talk into it, and then when you press the button, it will tell you what you're supposed to remember. It's a really nice thing to have. So all this ghost hunting stuff is really interesting to me too. So I want to talk about that too in my episodes, and also get people on board. If you have a paranormal ghost podcast, just contact me on email, Instagram, or email, Instagram is the easiest. Also, and then the other big passion of mine is obviously aliens and everything out of space, because I strongly believe we're not alone. Why would we? I mean, the universe is so huge and there's so many galaxies out there. I think it would be very strange if we would be the only ones here on this planet. Also, when you see all the technology we have at the moment, I think the aliens were helping us there one way or the other, either leaving some spaceships behind or crashed them, which you found, and then just looked into the technology and then built something up to be where we were at the moment. Technologies, for me, it's always really interesting, because I mean, microphones, computers, all this working so nicely together. I mean, if you remember when I was a teenager, I was around 12, 13 or something, I had my first computer at home, which was a Commodore Amiga 2000, which was a huge machine and had a big screen which was weighing a ton. And back in the days, if you wanted to have some RAM, you needed to buy an extension. So I had to buy a 1 megabyte extension in order to play some games. And the 1 megabyte extension back in the days was just big as a shoebox, and I think it weighed almost 5 kilograms. It was super heavy and needed its own power source to run, and just for 1 single megabyte. Now this machine I'm working on here, this is my wife's computer. It's an Apple MacBook Pro, has 16 gigabyte of RAM. It mentioned this in the shoebox size back in the days. So it's really handy and really interesting how everything is moving on in technology. Also a little bit more about my person. As I told you before, I worked my whole life in hotels, which I really liked, which was really interesting. I also love music a lot. Not also, I'm going for a look, Ray Charles. We're brothers in arms here with the eyes. I love blues, I love jazz, I love country, western music, Hank Williams. Okay, it's a little bit for the younger generation, you wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about. For the older generation, you would know exactly who Hank Williams is. I love the Blues Brothers, which is the one wonderful, wonderful, amazing band. I love the movies, obviously. I also like drinks. Since I was born in Germany, I was born for beer. I'm a beer man. I drink a lot of beer. I mean, not getting pissed drunk every night, obviously, but I really have a passion for beer. And I also love to drink bourbon. When I was younger, I was drinking a lot of Scottish whiskey because I had the money. And then life happened, so I couldn't afford the fancy stuff anymore, the super expensive Scottish whiskeys. Back in the days, I lived in Switzerland, so I had more money. Then I started to change for Irish whiskey because I lived in Ireland for 10, 11 years. So I really like to drink the Jameson and all the other whiskeys out there. And after many, many years, I met a guy, an Austrian guy, and he was always into bourbon. So he got me used to bourbon, and now I'm a really bourbon lover. I have to say it's my favorite drink besides beer. It's a good glass of bourbon. It helps you to think, it helps you to relax, and it helps you, hopefully in the future, to do better podcasts. Because today, guys, I'm not drinking bourbon. Today I'm drinking black tea, believe it or not. So just to give you a little timeline of my life, I was born 1976. I went to school, obviously, into the 90s, and afterwards I worked in the hotels. This was all up to then in Berlin, in Germany. For people, maybe you don't know where Berlin is. It's in Germany. Germany is in Europe. Just kidding. In around 2000, I moved to Switzerland to work in Switzerland for the Hilton hotel company, and I only planned to stay 2 years. But I overstayed. I stayed like almost 10 years in Switzerland. In Switzerland, I met my ex-wife, Canadian. She is absolutely bonkers. It cost me a lot of money to divorce her and to get rid of her because she is crazy. She is I think she's possessed of something dark, some demon-like. I'm just happy that I'm gone. After Switzerland, I moved to Canada for just 6 months to Newfoundland, which was really nice. I love Newfoundland. The people are nice. The countryside is beautiful. When I was in Newfoundland, it was just winter time. And guys, I'm just telling you, winter time in Newfoundland is not the time to be there. We had snow. I had to shovel for the snow every day. I had to shovel snow, and just to find the car, we had a Chevrolet Blazer, a 4x4, which we needed. So Newfoundland was a nice time, and after my 6 months of tourist visa, I left Canada again, and I moved to Ireland, where I then worked for 10, 11 years, something like that. I arrived just after the Celtic Tiger, after the economy absolutely collapsed in Ireland, so that was perfect timing for me to arrive. Took me 1 year to get a proper job, but I survived. So I worked as a hostel manager, tourist hostel, but not like a hostel in such as in the movie Hostel. It was a rundown place which took a lot of energy to fix it up and to get it running again, but at the end it was nice. Then I worked there until 2020. I'm not good with numbers. Anyways, COVID hit, so there was no tourism, so I got laid off. So as my wife, my last wife, I have to say, I can't divorce this one. She will kill me. So we lived together in Ireland, and COVID hit, and everything went just bust. Tourism was bust. My apartment, which I had, was on site of the hostel because I had to stay inside the building, the hostel building. This apartment would be gone sooner or later too. So we had some life savings, and we just packed up everything we had, and we moved to Madeira Island, which is a subtropical island belonging to Portugal. It is close to the African coast. We're in the Atlantic Ocean, so we always have warm weather here. It's very beautiful, and that's where the podcast is coming from, guys. If you guys are interested, it's coming from Madeira Island. And if you have any questions about Madeira Island, you can ask me too. Maybe not on a podcast, but I can answer your emails. If you want to see something about Madeira Island, my wife and I, we have a small little, very slow growing YouTube channel. If you want to know more about our YouTube channel, be with us. Just write me an email and I will answer you. So I think that sums it up for this podcast, as it only was an introduction podcast of me as the host and of my podcast, the Blind Spot 1667. If you're still listening up to this moment, it is sad, but I have to say we reached the end of this episode. Thank you so very much to staying all the way to the end. It means a lot to me. So please rate this podcast if possible on the platform wherever you're listening, or leave a review if it's possible. You can also leave a review if you're watching me on YouTube. Leave a review there. And if you want to contact me or this show, you can contact us on theblindspot1667@gmail.com, or you can contact us on Instagram. Thank you so very much for listening. It means a lot. And I will see you on the next one.